Morning, everybody. Morning. Wonderful. For those of you, Roger's just introduced it, so there goes my first page, really. He's just said everything. I'll go. It's been my honour to be elected by the people of Bedhampton and Lee Park to be their county councillor for the next 4 years. And secondly, by the other 9 UKIP Hampshire councillors to be their group leader. Just think about that. 10 councillors in Hampshire. It's incredible, isn't it? 2 or 3 years ago, if you'd have said that, we'd have thought you were mad. We really would. It's different. It's a different world now. Now I'm going to tell you how much fun it is. First, all the other groups hate us. Anyone who knows me knows that isn't really something that upsets me a great deal. We've parked our tanks on their lawn. One moment. All this modern technology, eh? Their cosy consensus politics has been blasted apart. The voters have rejected them for the only truly radical and inclusive party in British politics. This has left them feeling, as we say in Liverpool, extremely dish-chuffed. They actually resent us being allowed into their comfortable offices. We saw this first time, and some of my chaps around here, first time we turned up in the chamber, all smartly turned out to respect the occasion. We even all wore matching UKIP ties so that they knew who we were. Wasn't that kind of us? I took my allocated seat in the front row, and this rather upset a Labour councillor who thought that her leader should have had the front bench seat. She failed to understand, as they all do, the political landscape has changed irrevocably, and UKIP are now shouldering the old dinosaur parties aside. Nevertheless, this wasn't the end of the day's shenanigans. Towards the end of the AGM, when the retiring chairman had been replaced by the previous Tory leader, a gentleman who'd previously been dethroned straight after the election, and whose only previous claim to fame came after making lots of frontline staff take pay cuts and claiming no senior staff would be paid bonuses. He was found to have paid £80,000 of Hampshire taxpayers' money to the 7 senior directors of the council as special recognition payments. Payments which, obviously, in no way whatsoever could be described as bonuses. While he was leading the session, he failed to recognise me. Difficult, I know. When I stood up to take my turn. I found this a trifle peculiar, as not only had my mug been plastered all over the front page of the local papers straight after the elections, headlines like UKIP breaks through, and not only was I sitting in a group leader's seat wearing a purple tie with UKIP emblazoned on it, and not only was my face and name on the 2 giant television screens on either side of the hall, which he'd incidentally installed at a cost of nearly £250,000 to Hampshire taxpayers. But he turned up a few weeks earlier to an open public meeting I'd chaired in Alton, some of you may have been there, to try and claim we had no policies. He knew my name then when he was shouting at me from the back of the auditorium. Perhaps his eyesight had deteriorated with his crying over the election results and he needed to go to Specsavers. Bless him. It really does seem as if the old, tired, discredited parties have no understanding of the changed political reality. They refuse to accept that UKIP are here, and we're here to stay. However, I suspect they know who we are now. Although possibly, as I say, we're not too popular. 1 or 2 of my comments to the local media may have upset them a trifle. Little items such as talking about making senior staff reapply for their jobs at substantially lower salaries. Our chief executive's paid £235,000 a year. Incredible, isn't it? Exactly the same way as this Tory council had done to librarians and other low-paid frontline staff. Our growing unpopularity in the corridors of County Hall could also be traced to an article in the Hampshire Chronicle, in which I suggested that the council should sell off the 2 open-air council car parks that are reserved solely for county council staff at a cost of £70,000 an annum. That'd save a couple of jobs, wouldn't it? And county councillors such as myself should pay for parking, the same as all of the other people who have to go into Winchester have to. You know, if anyone's been to Winchester, you'll know it's a bit of a swine to park. But it's all right for us because we've got an underground car park that says private car park on it. Yeah, you know, it's disgraceful. I strongly suspect if they were to have their way, our county council would want Cllr lanes like they used to have in Soviet Russia for the bureaucrats there. The fact we are now the third largest, in fact, by the true measure, the second largest party in Hampshire, gives us an incredible opportunity to show the electorate that we're not swivel-eyed loons, even though some of us are indeed, Roger, former Conservatives. The fact is that newspapers and radio stations contact us for information now, rather than us having to chase them. This can only be a good thing. We're the party of opportunity and fairness, and the more people hear and read about our real policies, rather than the distortions and outright lies peddled by our political opponents, the more they will and are flocking to our banner. Common sense policies promoted by our county councillors in the media will encourage potential defectors from other parties who are sick of being forced to follow the party line on policies they simply don't believe in. Here's my chaps. Can you see them? Another great thing about being one of the UKIP gang in County Hall is the tremendous sense of camaraderie. My group ranges from Tim Rolt, we can never get his name right for some reason, Rolt just doesn't seem right, in Andover. He joined the party in 1994. We've also got people who joined us. Andy Moore joined us during the Eastleigh by-election. He was a Lib Dem councillor at one time. My deputy, indeed, is actually, he joined us a few weeks before the election. We've got councillors from all corners of Hampshire and who range from one or two of us have silver hair or one or two of us don't have any. And we've got Chris Woods, represents Fareham Crofton. He's 23. He looks about 5. It's really annoying. Really annoying. Whatever our differences in age, location, or length of time in the party, we all believe in UKIP. We all believe in democracy. And that's the fact that the old and discredited parties fear and hate us just confirms to us that our policies are right and everything we do tastes so much sweeter because of that. We truly are a band of brothers, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank them all for the tremendous support I've received as their group leader. Thanks, chaps. This brings me neatly to the very best thing, even better than all the money the council keep throwing at us. You wouldn't believe it. Do you realise I'm probably on about 25 grand a year just for being a councillor? It's ridiculous, isn't it? As far as I'm concerned, councillors shouldn't be paid. You should get your bus fare and a cup of tea. Right, there's my rant over. The best thing about being a UKIP county group leader, the fact we don't whip. I don't have to bully my colleagues, or as I like to refer to them as my minions, to follow a party line on policies with which their electorate may not agree. They can simply come and speak to the group, explain why they're voting differently, and then go and do exactly what it is that their voters want them to do. Thank you. This makes my job a complete joy. It means that my colleagues are not unhappy with defying the wishes of the electorate. And if I get a call from the local papers or the radio station saying one of our councillors has gone rogue and voted against party policy, I get to shock them by saying, we believe in local democracy and local politics is far too important to be left to national parties. Decisions should be made as close to those it affects as possible and in line with their wishes. So I'm actually happy that my colleagues listen to the people to whom they hold their real allegiance, the voters. This is the real difference UKIP councillors can make it to local politics. And the true beauty of it is not only it's easy, it's right, and it will break the mould in national politics. Our councillors are loyal to UKIP and our policies because they want to be, not because we tell them to be. That's the real difference, my friends. We're all UKIPers because we have principles and we believe in a future for our great nation. Once voters start to understand how radical and different this is, They will flock to us in their droves, as they're doing. What a total change this is. A party that listens to them instead of telling them. I believe that we, the 2013 intake, can kick the doors open for next year and lead to UKIP, and I know Rob is going to cringe when I say this, gaining 500 or more local councillors next year across the country. He's gone white, hasn't he? I love doing that too. And seizing control of councils across the country. We can do it, particularly here in the South East. Let me show you a few slides that will give you the flavour of how far we've come in Hampshire, before I bore you too much, and exactly the impact we're having here. Let me say in passing, this isn't just about how fabulous Hampshire is, even though it is, but in other counties, some have done even better than us. One moment. Look at that, technology. This slide shows us who won and who lost. UKIP are the party who made the big gains here, as you can see. Mostly, but not just from the Tories. I took out a Lib Dem. We took out 3 Lib Dems from their former heartland of Eastleigh. They didn't like that. I've got to give special kudos to Chris Lagden. He's our Totton councillor. He removed the only Green councillor in Hampshire. This was a great answer to their really obnoxious leader who went on TV before the election and said they'd trounce UKIP. Look at how the votes ended up. Ah, that's not the one. He did that just for annoying me. UKIP beat the Lib Dems in votes cast by almost 10,000 votes, and we got 24.61% of the votes to 37.51% for the Tories. This in a county which you would expect to be a real Tory heartland. They think they own it. Next time we can win the council. We really can. Can you imagine how sick they'll be when we paint Hampshire purple next time? Oh, purple, yeah. Lovely accent, isn't it? Or even before. Conservatives have gone from a majority of 24 seats to just 12. If we get 6 defectors from them, this can give us a no overall control council. And we're working on it, believe me, we're working on it. This will enable us to lay real foundations for the general election in 2015. Once people see UKIP having people elected who are smart, competent and efficient, and me, and that their friends and neighbours vote for them, then we will get people elected to the Mother of Parliaments and we can achieve our long-cherished dream of a full, free and fair referendum. Sorry, it's just so good. Sorry. Then, good job me missus isn't here. She'd give me a right slap for that one. I'll try not to. Thank you, Winston. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Then, not only will we have the right answers, we will have a nation and a party full of tried and tested elected campaigners that the media know and trust to give a valid and coherent argument. There really is no downside to this, apart from having me weeping like it. We've proven we're winners in the county council elections. We'll win in the Euro elections next time too. I stood for those in UKIP last time when we came second nationally. I was right at the bottom of the list, you know. I was that unpopular that I was delegated to take Martin Andreasen around the South East, which just shows. Anyway, I hope to stand again next year when we come first. Well, maybe I'll get 9th on the list instead. Then we'll see them desperately trying to steal our policies, because they will finally see our policies are the ones which the overwhelming majority of the British people believe in. However, they still won't understand that for them, these broken-backed hacks with no political morality, it's too late. The voters are starting to cast them aside like yesterday's papers. And after the victories next year in the local and the Euro elections, we'll be in a prime position to take seats in Westminster and force them to finally give us what we in this hall and our millions of supporters in this nation demand, a say in our future, whether we want to be a free and independent nation or whether we want to be slaves to those miserable bureaucrats who've destroyed Greece, Spain, Portugal and Cyprus. Someone come on. It's Nigel here. I haven't overrun my time yet, have I, Rob? Right. There'll only be one answer to that question, and we should once again be able to call ourselves Great Britain. To all of those... Oh, I'm getting whistled at. To all of those sitting in this audience wondering if they should stand for election next year in the local council elections, I would say do it. The humbling feeling when you realise your friends and neighbours trust you to do the right thing for your community and for them is amazing. You don't have to be a genius to do it. All the voters want is someone they can trust, somebody who has their interests at heart. You've already proven you have that by becoming UKIP members. I now urge you to take the next step. Thank you very much indeed.